COVID-19. The whole world is shut down. Nowhere to go. Suddenly, you hear the news from the TV. Oh my God! The country is being under lockdown. Over 5 million suffered, 1 million lost their lives. No cure, no solution. So what's next? Meanwhile in Sri Lanka it's a different story. Let's find out how Sri Lanka is being affected by COVID-19. In late 2019, it was China where the coronavirus or the COVID-19 initially made its origin. But still there is no clue what causes the origin of this virus. Well, some say China is behind this pandemic, hiding their information. But for what reasons? Why? Anyway, still clarifying how this virus took place in China. Who knows? Currently the United States is still claiming China for this reason. Things got bad to worse. This pandemic laterally spread to nearby countries like India, then Europe, Middle East, United States, and Latin America. Nearly within 3 months, the whole world is a victim of this outbreak. However, the first COVID-19 case in Sri Lanka was on 27 January, a Chinese woman admitted to the National Institute of Infectious Diseases in Colombo. In this case, many of the people thought this is the beginning of the outbreak, but wasn't to be. The second case was in March 12 where a tourist guide who went with few Italians in their visit to Sri Lanka. At that point, the COVID-19 has blown up in Italy. And then the day after that day, there were 3 cases, and so on. This was the beginning of the corona outbreak in Sri Lanka. Let's analyze COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka. In March, there were 143 cases found. In the following months, 520, 970, 414 and 464. It's little peak but not lasted for a long, thanks to the government's immediate actions to avoid this outbreak. The people who recovered from the disease is much higher than we thought. Take a look at this. 19, 142, 669, and 1053 respectively from March until now. That is more than 75% of the COVID-19 cases. Yes, we expect that it stays like that. Another surprise that there were only 11 deaths found by this disease. It ensures that Sri Lanka is one of the countries which succeeded from this global pandemic. The government quickly reacting to this, enforced island-wide curfew 24 hours a day. And also taking awareness of the spread of the disease, it was mandatory to follow health precautions. There was one day for a week where the curfew has been lifted. It was for the essential needs of the people. More often the army and the police stood up for the task. They took the gamble of observing whether the people are following the health precautions, and warnings were given to those who don't. And also the suspected people were carried to the quarantine facility at Camp Dakadu. Also the flights were cancelled. On April 8 of 2020, all flights were cancelled until informed. So, sad story for who bought their tickets. Many foreigners were stuck in Sri Lanka, but they were given great hospitality by giving accommodations for further staying in the country. The government extended the visa for those who were stuck in Sri Lanka. In China, there were 33 Sri Lankan students stuck and has nowhere to go. Anyway, finally they were rescued with a flight of Sri Lankan Airlines. Those 33 were quarantined in Naval Base Hospital in Diathalawa. Later, many people abroad rescued who were unable to get back home. The social distancing and curfew kept a quiet period for people with boundaries of the wall in the home. No jobs, no schools, no universities, no traveling, no meetings. Oops, no love. It took a while until curfew has been lifted on the 28th of June completely. But the passenger arrival flights are still not open yet until further informed. Well, if you haven't subscribed yet, then subscribe to our channel for more facts, stats, and explore. While comparing with other countries, many of them are struggling to get away from this pandemic. Sri Lanka has actually succeeded in controlling this disease. Yes, they have proven it so far. You may think, when I will be able to visit Sri Lanka? It's not far away. But there is one thing that you may concern, is it safe for travel Sri Lanka? Then watch our video in the description, is Sri Lanka safe for traveling?